our first guest, the Deputy Governor of Edo State. A lot has been happening in Edo State as the September 19 governorship election draws nearer. There has been a lot of citizen engagement by the two major political parties in the contest, the People's Democratic Party and the All Progressives Congress, as they traverse the length and breadth of the state in search of votes. But another form of engagement that is causing sleepless nights for stakeholders in Edo State and indeed other Nigerians has been that of a violent kind, the reign of violence. And after every act of thuggery, there is usually a lot of finger pointing between both parties. As a matter of fact, we have hosted on this program a number of top officials of the PDP and the APC. And in the course of our interactions with them, there was a willingness to admit serious concern over the possibility of violence during the September 19 polls. What then are they doing to nip that evil in the bud? We continue on that path this morning as we are now being joined from Benin by Philip Shaibu, Deputy Governor of Edo State and Deputy Governorship candidate of the People's Democratic Party for the forthcoming governorship election. Welcome to the program, Deputy Governor, Edo State. Good to have you on the Morning Show.
Thank you very much.
Yes,
good morning, all.
You're welcome. Now, not too long ago, we hosted the gubernatorial candidate of the APC on this program, Sage Yamo, and he expressed very serious concern about the threat of violence. And he pointedly accused the People's Democratic Party, and particularly your boss, of fomenting trouble, of encouraging violence, of playing the politics of the rhetoric of hate. And he said, look, his own party is committed to peace, but the PDP does not seem to be interested in peace. And now we're told that you've had to write a petition accusing the opposition, in this regard the APC, of being the ones promoting violence. What exactly is the situation? Who is telling us the truth? Because both of you are accusing one another of being architects of violence.
Yeah, thank you very much. Good morning once again. I think the truth is clear. And when you look at all the activities leading to this period, you will observe that starting from their leader, the immediate past chairman of APC, last year, you see, I'm sure most of us saw that video that went viral where he was celebrating Togri, where he was celebrating that he has infantry at night in his house with some talks, and he was celebrating that this is his infantry. And recently, you saw another video of Pastor Yamu where the lions and the tigers and the lions, where he was encouraging them to move from one unit to ward to local government, and that they are stronger than some big men. So most of these videos and most of these activities are one-sided. We are very peaceful. We have a governor that is very peaceful. You have a governor that, even when we are campaigning, governance is not asleep. We are still finding time to work for Edo people. So we are playing the game by the rules. And these characters have discovered that they have no place again in Edo. You can imagine a situation where, as we speak today, APC do not have ward executive. All the wards we have visited, the entire ward executives are all moving to PDP. When you don't have a structure that you sit on, then obviously you have lost the election. They've seen that they've lost the election. They decided to go through violence. And they've been boasting of federal might. They've been boasting that they are going to use federal might to rig us out. And interestingly, their leader, the former governor of Edo State and national chairman of APC, when he was governor of the state, he told us there was no federal might but state might. But today, he's the one now shouting that he's going to use federal might to rig us out. So for us, we are committed to peace. And when you want to check who is perpetrating violence, obviously it is APC led by Comrade Adnan Saliu Shomole and Pastor Ezeyamo, they have records of violent tendencies, and Edo people know. We have been talking peace. We have told our people not to retaliate, and we've been thanking God that our people have been following our instructions. And yesterday I had to go and petition. That is the second petition. The first one was to the IG Direct when Shomole came to Edo State, and that video that went viral of being having infantry. And the second one is the attack on my convoy, which is a decoy. They said I want to attack my convoy. And for me, it's crazy for anybody to say, I want to attack myself. But it's not surprising, because Oshomole said that when he attacked us in his gate during the convocation. So for me, I needed to shout out. I needed to alert the security agencies, because attacking my convoy is not just about me. You have the police, you have the SSS, you have the drivers that will be part of this convoy. So I needed to let the whole world to know that they are selling a dummy, and their intention is to attack my convoy, because for them, become a bone on their neck, and they have to get rid of me. But unfortunately for them, they've forgotten that I am not destructible. God is with me. God is always on my side. And if I cannot die during the military when we were fighting for this democracy, it's not now that the democracy we fought for is here that they can get at me. So they are the ones really that are violent, and they are the ones shouting and even boasting about it.
All right, Mr. Shuaibu, thank you for bringing up those instances, because in the build-up to this moment, your name in particular has been mentioned a few times, from Iyamo to Esako West last week during the campaigns, and the gubernatorial candidate on this show last week, as we mentioned, also mentioned your name. He says you went as far as seizing the phone of the area commander, a female police officer, in an attempt to destroy evidence. Is it mere coincidence that your name keeps coming up in this recorded violence in the state? And why would the opposition APC want to destroy you, in your own words? What do you bring to the table for the PDP ticket?
Yeah, actually not in my own word. It was in Comrade Adnan Saliu Shomole's ward. And he arranged, a day before that time, we got intel that they were going to do what they did. And we gave those information to the security agencies. And unfortunately, they still carry out that action. And I was really not happy because the area commander alerted her of what they are going to do. And she was there. And for me, it's like, it doesn't really matter, and they supervised such an action, and I was not pleased. I went to her and I said, look, we informed you about this attack, and why will you allow it to happen? Because we got intel and we gave you the information, and she was like, we thought it's one of those informations. And so they said I took her phone. She was playing with her phone while I was talking to her, and I insisted that she must listen. She must listen to me first. Unfortunately, there is a lacuna between what the Constitution is saying and what is happening in the state, where the Constitution says the governor is the chief security officer of the state, whereas the control of this security is from Abuja. And so ordinarily, I was speaking as the governor, as at that time, speaking to her as the chief security officer of the state, and she was not listening. You understand? So for me, it doesn't make any sense. And this is how insecurity starts. And this is how you encourage these young ones to carry gun. Before you know, become bandit, become Boko Haram, and we need to nip it on the bud. But coming back to my name being dropped by these people, I know Comrade Adnan Saliu Shomole is my father. And he still remains my father. I've never denied him. But on the political scene today, we are in the opposite camp. And why? They see the governor of Edo State as a novice in politics. They see him as a complete gentleman that do not understand the other side of politics, the rough, if I use the word, of politics. They see him as a complete clean man. And that is why the action that the Oshomole took against him to make sure that he was removed as governor because he was not playing ball. And for me, that know who Oshomole is, I also know who Oshomole is. I mean, Ezeyamo is. Ezeyamo in 2012 also was playing the role that Comrade is playing against the governor now, trying to make sure that Oshomole was removed as governor. We fought on the side of Oshomole against Ezeyamo to make sure Oshomole survived that impeachment. And the same thing they did to Oshomole, Oshomole want to do to my boss. And I insisted that. For me, I fought for democracy, and democracy must thrive. And I hate oppression. I hate oppression. And God has given me the energy and strength to fight against oppression. And that is why my name is dropping. You cannot oppress anybody in my presence and I'll keep quiet. I will use all the energy God has given me to fight on the side of the oppressed. And I insisted that we will mobilize our rank and file to make sure that we support the governor and to shout out to everybody, mobilize our party executive then in APC to shout out that this man wants to remove our governor. And I was the first to break that news, and we blocked all the loopholes, all the areas where they will have passed, which was House of Assembly and the party executive. And unfortunately for them, when the time was there to activate the party structure, they were not there for them because we have already blocked those areas. And that is why my name is dropping till tomorrow. And for me, I have no regret because I am on the side of the truth. And the truth is that we have a governor that is performing. We have a governor that promised that he was going to take development to next level. And he's doing that. So, and we have a governor that is following the path that we set up in 2016. And what was that path? That will sustain no to godfatherism, to free resources for development for our state. So if we join Oshomole to fight godfathers, and truly we had money, that we freed money to build those red roofs that Oshomole is proud of, and we are also proud of, then Oshomole cannot replace himself. He cannot be the new godfather in town. And the implication of that is that the governor today will not be able to sustain the red roof and the developmental stripe. Why? Because those money will now be going to Oshomole, who is the new godfather in town. So we insisted that I had to take a decision whether to return back to the area where monies were shared in the few hands or an area where we have sustained development for the state. And for me, why we fought for democracy is for the people to lead, is for Edo people to be the one to decide how their state is being run. And the only way was to join the governor to sustain development against taking the resources of the state to one godfather. So they will continue to call my name because they know I know their tricks. I can tell you, if comrades say good morning, I can read the meaning and I can tell you exactly what that good morning is. If Pastor Ezeyamo say good morning, I can tell you what that good morning is all about because they know that I know them. But the governor does not know them deeply the way I know them. And that is why every step they take, we are able to block them. And they know that because I know who they are dropping my name consistently. But unfortunately for them, I am determined to support the governor to the end. And the good news is that they have space for them to change. And that space is for them to realize that Edo people have moved beyond the era of Godfather. And they have to be born again politically to understand that Edo must move forward. And moving forward means that they must drop that attitude of theirs, which want to return governance to few people, as against allowing the people to lead. Okay.
I've got two questions for you. You've said here that Oshomole is your father many times. They are quite close to him. Yes. In all this time, yes. And now you are claiming, oh, he's using violence. In all this time, you were very close to him. Did you people use violence together at any point in time? That's one. And how is your relationship like now? Because if you're claiming he's a violent person and he's using violence, and you claim he's your father, you've been together for many years, maybe, just maybe, a lot of people are wondering, did both of you use violence as a tool to get into power? I also want to ask another very important question. There was a report, that came across on media, but some have been able to, debunk it, that you had a little fracas with the governor as regards, releasing funds for these elections. What's your take on that too? Those two questions.
No, the last one is not true. There was no fracas, and that is just what they wish. But unfortunately for them, I am somebody that I express myself. I don't care who the person is. When I know it is right, I express myself. So there was no fracas. That is just what they wish, and unfortunately that will not happen.
If there was no, what happened? I think you talked to the governor about releasing funds, and there was a back and forth. Okay, no fracas. So what happened between you and the governor?
No, there was no such thing. Okay. If I want to speak to my governor on things I feel strong about, it's not going to be in a general meeting. It is going to be one-on-one. And when Oshomole was governor, we have disagreement, but those disagreements are not in the public. So I am not somebody that will advise any of my person in front of camera or in a general meeting. So those are just, you can imagine somebody going on air to say, I want to attack my convoy. So if they can say that, they can say anything just to create disaffection. So those are not, that is by the side. The relationship between me and my governor is not only cordial, but we are united against the Godfather. And by the grace of God, we are also united to move Edo forward. I can assure you of that. This governor is one governor that is, he runs the government in a very transparent manner. This is a governor that will be in Abuja for 5 days only. And from ESCO, he will hand over governance to me. This is a governor that will travel. The books of Edo State are open. And if you check our website, you just see that we are just running government as the Constitution asks us to run it, very transparent. So they are not too comfortable with that. And I can tell you that there are a lot of things I cannot say on the camera, but I can tell you that the governor is doing very well. And if there's any need to advise him, it was not going to be in a general meeting as they alleged. So there was nothing like that. And for the issue of whether we ran government under Oshomole with violence, I would say yes and no. No, in the sense that there was no conscious efforts to just be violent. No, but there were the Ezeyamo factor and the Godfather factor that were interested in removing Oshomole from government because, according to them, what they agree he wasn't doing. And we are on the other side making sure we mobilize the people out to stop that. You remember that during Oshomole, the roof of the House of Assembly was removed. 9 of us have to relocate the house to the old chambers where the house is now. We passed budget with only 8 of us being in attendance. We run that House of Assembly, 9 of us, all through. We also declared the seats of members vacant the way it is now to save Oshomole then. So everything that we did under Oshomole, especially as it relates to House of Assembly, is what is playing out today. But the difference is that while those ones were sworn in and their seats were declared vacant, these ones were not even sworn in at all. That is different. So he is the one crying now, but he has forgotten that his own period was worse than what it is today. Unlike us, these guys did not make themselves available for swearing in. But during Oshomole, these people were sworn in. They were members of the House. 2 years after, we declared their seat vacant because they have the number to impeach him. On the issue of violence, Oshomole celebrated Togri. Edo State, during Oshomole, has all the thugs in Edo State as tax collectors. And when we make statements about these people in-house, Oshomole will tell us that he doesn't have the control of police. So these people, he needs to empower these people to help him sustain governance. And when we came in, we said we're taking government to the next level, and we will have to eradicate this Togri aspect of governance. We have to take governance back to the people, and we have to return revenue, which Oshomole used to pacify these talks to be able to sustain his government, back to the local government. And that was where the major problem started with us and Oshomole. He insisted that we should allow these thugs to continue to collect revenue of the state. And we said, no, we have to find something for these thugs to do. We can no longer tolerate where thugs will be the one collecting revenue and they block the road. People, they smash people with screen if they don't pay certain levy. At a time, even your radio in your car, they will stop you on the way and say you have to pay for the radio inside your car. When they discover there's nothing else to pay for, that was how the government was before we came on board. We have cleaned up all this. All the CDAs where, what in Lagos they call them omonile. If you want to build a house from foundation, you pay. If you don't pay, they seize the implements that the workers are using. All those ones were all the infantry Oshomole was talking about. And during his own era, these people, it was a nightmare for Edo people. As a government that promised to take governance to the next level and make Edo a peaceful state, we decided to take that aspect out. And that aspect has actually sustained and maintained peace in Edo, and Edo people are happy for it. But unfortunately, the Godfather is not interested in that. He feels that we are dismantling his infantry, which is his major structure. And that is the bone of contention. And for us, that infantry that he's talking about, we are giving them a new life. We are training some of them. Most of them that make themselves available, just like those that made themselves available to be sworn in, that were sworn in the House of Assembly, those of them that made themselves available for the new opportunity, we trained them. Some of them were good in terms of collection of revenue. But because the new law does not allow private individuals to collect revenue, we converted them to enforcers. And some of them that can read and write, that understand technology, we trained them and converted them to enforcers. Whereas those other ones that refuse to make themselves available are still the ones that Oshomole is proud of, and they are still his infantry. And those are the ones causing trouble as we speak today, the Kabakas and the Shabas. Well, so that is the issue of in Edo. And my brother, the truth is, Edo is on the right path, and Edo people are with us, because if we have concluded Edo North and Edo Central, and the kind of enthusiasm we saw on those people that came out, and we are now taking governance like it's supposed to be to the people. We are not doing local government or senatorial rally. We are going to their vicinity, where they have to just walk down to the venue of our campaign. And I am not even looking at the size of the crowd. I'm looking at the enthusiasm that I see, the joy in their hearts when we come to that environment. That is what interests me most, because those people, we commission projects everywhere we go. We don't, if we have to commission all the projects that we have done in this administration, we will not need to campaign. We will spend more than 60 days commissioning projects. We have over 2,000 projects that we have to our credit. So the issue is actually between light and darkness. Light is for Edo people to govern. Darkness is for few individuals to be the one to collectively share the resources that are meant for development in Edo State. So this election is about that.
But it is interesting to see that Comrade Adams Oshomole, who is not running for any political office in Edo State, is so dominant in the politics. Why do you think that is so? Because everybody that has been here, it's always Adams Oshomole, Adams Oshomole. And I see that you and Comrade Adams Oshomole have a lot in common. You are a comrade yourself.
Yes. Comrade
Shaibu is a comrade.
Yes.
The two of you are from the same senatorial district, Edo North. You are even dressed like him. I was thinking whether the two of you use the same tailor. Yeah. You wear khaki safari suits, that's what he wears, and the styling of it is more or less the same. Maybe because both of you are comrades, or it was once your godfather. And then the story is out there that he personally handpicked you to make you the deputy governor to Godwin Obaseki. In one interview, he has said that you betrayed him. He specifically mentioned your name, made it sound like you're an ingrate. So I would like you to respond to that. And then secondly, there is this statement you made earlier. You said he's fighting Governor Obaseki because Governor Obaseki is not playing ball. Would you like to explain that metaphor? Yes. Do you people play football when you are not serving the people of the state?
Well, I am comrade not because, and I'm wearing khaki not because Oshomole is wearing khaki. I feel I was the coordinator of Abacha Must Go during the military. I was the president of National Association of Nigerian Student NANS. So I have my records of being a comrade. And as a comrade, the difference between Oshomole and I is that whereas he served during the military for all the visions that never came to fruition, I never served during the military. So if you are comparing those that are comrade and those that are not comrade, I can say I am a genuine comrade because I was in the trenches. I fought for this democracy that we have today. I was arrested by Al-Mustafas and the rest. I was taken from Yaba and I ended up in Gushwa in Zamfara when we did our own march against Abacha. While Kanu was doing Abacha Must Stay, we were doing Abacha Must Go in Yaba, and I was arrested from there and taken to Gushwa prisons. And I was also arrested in Plateau Township Stadium where I organized anti-Abacha rally, where I was also arrested and detained along Dia and his group that were alleged to have participated in coup. We were together in the same cell in DSS office in Plateau. So I have my own records of being a comrade. And I have a record of not participating throughout in the military governance. Oshomole participated. I never participated. So when you are looking for the three comrade, you are seeing the real comrade here. Beyond that, I do not have any, relationship with comrade and I goes beyond politics and goes beyond being comrade also. We are family. But comrade also know that I am somebody that when I'm convinced about anything, I go with my heart. Even him cannot change my heart, change my mind when I'm convinced about anything. And on this matter, I am convinced we have a vision. We came together. I am one of those that suggested that comrades should contest for governor of Edo State because we were tired of what was happening. And he has a name that he has built in NLC. I wanted to use that name. And we got him to contest. And what was the vision? The vision was to get Edo back to life because Edo was almost dead. Money of the state was shared by a few individuals, and when there's rain, flood will go and take children from even their bedrooms, and there were a lot of things that were wrong. And we all came together to say, look, let's have a change. And that change, God blessed it through the tribunal, and we had him. I was a member of House of Assembly before Oshomole became the governor of Edo State. I won my election actually. He came through the tribunal. So he came on my structure. I was in politics before him. He came, I introduced him to his ward. I introduced him to the leaders of that area. I introduced him to who and who he needs to meet for politics, to be in politics. And interestingly, the governor of Edo State, as we speak, Godwin, was the one that also encouraged him to contest. And Oshomole said he didn't have money. This governor was the one that raised over 70% of the funds that we spent for Oshomole to be governor in 2006. This governor now was the one that raised the funds. So you can see, we all supported him. I was on the field mobilizing our people. The governor now was in Lagos mobilizing resources for his election. So he didn't want to contest. He said he didn't have money. And the governor now said, look, don't worry. Just make yourself available. We'll raise the funds for you. And that was what happened. So today, when somebody say, I picked, yes, he picked us. The governor supported the governor and I. True. But he has also forgotten that we also made him governor in 2007. We encouraged him to be governor. Why I introduced him to the structure and he rode on that structure, the governor now raised resources for him to contest. So this thing was about what we believed in. We all agree and said, look, we must take governance back to the people. And what was our slogan then? Let's rescue Edo State and let the people lead. That was our slogan then. We're on a rescue mission and the people must lead. That was our slogan. And what have we done? Comrade succeeded, even with the obstacles, he succeeded. He succeeded. We now had red roof. We now have roads that the then opposition were calling flowers. We came down to say, look, he has built the foundation of that vision. We are taking that vision to the next level. We are now taking the vision to the next level. He is changing the language. He's moving, like you talk about football. You don't move the goalposts when the match has started. Now the match has started. He has served 8 years. Now he's out. He's shifting the goalpost. And we have said, no, the football has started, and the rules of the game is that you don't shift goalposts. This vision we must stand, that we started, we are standing by it. And what will interest you most is that in the structure that we have, Oshomole is the only one that is out of that structure. And that is why he has become prominent. He's going everywhere to see how he can make his failed candidate win. He's the only one out. The SSG and I, we are still there. The governor of the Edo State is there. All the major structures at the base are still there. And that is why today, APC do not have ward executive, because that is the base. That base refused to go with him. They refused to go with him. What they have decided to be doing now is they are buying one commissioner, they are buying one councillor, and we said, no problem. We decided, this governor decided, he said, Philip, my DG, I am not going to sack anybody on rumor. Anybody that wants to go, let them go. You know what we'll do? We give deadline. You either go and pick the PDP card, or you send in your resignation letter. And some of us were not comfortable with it. You say, Mr. Governor, they want to just create, you say, Deputy, I am not going to sack based on rumor. Let them be the one to resign and go. At that level, my conscience is free that I did not sack them. Tomorrow we'll still meet, and people will know the kind of people they are, that they are commodities. They are not people of vision. And for us, we saw reason with it, and we said, okay, fine. And in our ESCO meeting, we said, look, X day is deadline. If either you join our new party, which is PDP, or you bring your party card, or you bring your letter of resignation. And most of them that you saw that resigned, though some of them were disappointed because one or two of them said they cannot, they made all the statements against them. But anyway, that is on the side. But what is key, my brother, is that this election really is about governance being returned to few individual or the people who continue to lead in Edo State. And I can assure you that for me, I can sacrifice my personal relationship to sustain democracy, because that is the only way. If we don't sustain this democracy, my brother, Nigeria will be history. And Nigeria cannot be history when we know what we suffer to have democracy. I am speaking from the angle of pain, because I know the pain I went through. I know the tear gas I inhaled. I know the risks we took to have this democracy. So if I see anybody trying to derail it, I'm ready to fight that person. And that is the fight that we have in Edo State. This governor mean well, and we are supporting him. If he does not mean well, the government do not need to fight the governor. If the governor does not mean well, I will shout. I will shout and say this governor is not doing well. I have that tendency to shout when things are wrong. And so it's not about Oshomole or about the governor. It's about what the vision that we are put in place, and Edo people are bought into that vision. Derailing it is what we are fighting against. The people of Edo are happy with this governor. They are happy with the peace they now have. They can drive their car without being molested. They can build at their houses without any CDA coming to disturb them. My brother, you need to come to Iyokogba. You need to come to Eriri area now. You need to come to Jetu area. You need to see the kind of structures that are being erected. Development, you will be shocked with the kind of development that in that area within the last 2 years. Why? Because of certain policies that were put in place that is making governance work. See, my wearing khaki from day one was to make sure that institutions are allowed to work. And this governor is putting on policies that are institutionalizing everything that we are doing. When institutions doesn't work, obviously you don't have a state or you don't have a country. An arrangement where the police are not independent, the DSS are not independent, INEC and all these institutions that are in quote are supposed to be independent are not institutionalized to be independent. Then there's a problem. For us in Edo State, we have passed the more than 200% of laws of Edo State since the inception of Edo State within the past 3 years. Why are we making those policies? Why are we passing those laws, assigning those bills to laws? Why? Because everything we are doing, we are making sure that we are institutionalizing them. They will live after us. So that at the end of the day, when we are out of governance, we can also have peace and we can also drive around the city without fear. Because what if you are not able to do those things will hurt you after you leave government. That is the truth.
Mr. Shuaibu, earlier you mentioned the enthusiasm of the crowd at the campaign rally. And I wonder if, those won elections, if enthusiasm in campaign rallies won elections, then every political candidate will be in power. But let's talk about the local dynamics of the politics going into this election and the chances of your party retaining power. From the north, where you come from, you cannot wish away the dominance of your benefactor, Adams Oshiomhole, and also the running mates to the opposition gubernatorial candidate, Gani Audu, who is seen as a grassroots politician, also comes from Edo North. Many say he was chosen to whittle down your influence in that senatorial district. How do you intend to upturn that influence? And when you look at the South, Edo South, that's where the two gladiators come from, your principal and Osageze Yamu. So really, what are the chances of your party?
Yeah, I don't want to compare myself with Gani Audu because Gani, by the grace of God, Gani Audu wouldn't win election without our support. I play my politics to a level where if you check all my elections from when I was in AMPP to APC, I have never won an election that is not like using a sledgehammer to kill an ant. The gap in all my elections have been very wide. All my elections, I win with a very, very wide margin. Check my results and check Gani's result. Gani became a member of the House of Assembly because Oshiomhole begged for him. Gani, the last election, Oshiomhole virtually was begging. And what did he do? He said, we follow Buhari's example. When I went to campaign for Gani, I said, this is Gani, our candidate. Vote for who you like. Whereas, when I went to the other side of the constituency, I said, this is our candidate, vote for him. And the one that I said they should vote for, by the grace of God, he won with over 90% when you check the margin votes in that area. The one that I say vote for who you like, he struggled to win with 200 votes. And that one that struggled to win with about 200 votes is Gani. Why? Because I said vote for who you like. So check the margin of all my elections and check the margin that he has used to win. So when you say they brought him to water my influence down, in fact, it's the greatest joke of the year because he cannot, if I can defeat an incumbent member of House of Representatives, I'm not just defeating him, I defeated, when you check the difference between my vote and it's like Johnny from Sokoto to Rivers State. That is the margin. So my popularity is not based on what Comrade do. Comrade use money now. You know, he has become a bourgeois. He now uses money to influence people, to buy people. I don't use money to buy or influence people because when they were doing their birthday, I am there. When they were sick, I am in the hospital with them. When they didn't have food, I was ready to share my food with them. When the rain was beating them, I was able to stretch out my umbrella to cover them. When the sun was beating them, I did same. So I am always there for them. So when election comes, no amount of money you will use to buy them, that they will forget that when they had issues, I was always there with them. I play the politics of communalism. I don't play the politics of money. And that is the difference between me and them. During my elections, Oshomole don't come to campaign with me. I remember the first time of Gani Audu, Oshomole asked me to abandon my campaign and go and campaign for Gani. He said, Philip, you don't have problem. Please go to Agbede. Gani has problem. Go and campaign for him. I had to abandon my campaign to go and campaign for Gani. To the extent, our leader then, Shagadi, was using me as a reference to campaign for Gani Audu. Gani has been a member of the House of Assembly. He has not moved one motion. He has no constituency project. I, in 8 years, had 49 constituency projects. I moved 296 motions, and I was able to pass about 61 bills in the House, to my credit. They call me Mr. Constituency Project in my area. He doesn't have a name. So it's not to compare at all. The truth is, if you check this campaign, when I talk about enthusiasm, I have been in politics since 2003, and I know when people are with you. You are in the environment of everybody. You are moving. They are coming out from their houses. Those days, they used to bring broom. Now I'm passing. They are rushing for umbrella. So they now know the difference. That is the politics that we are playing. I'm playing grassroots politics. This Gani that they speak does not have the energy to campaign. I have the energy to campaign for 1 month without closing my eyes, because during the military, we were not closing our eyes. We were always on the street. In the daytime, we were on the street burning tires. At night, we are traveling to the next destination. So inside me, I already have that shock. I already have that energy. I already have that experience of being able to work for 30 days without closing my eyes, work in the daytime, strategize in the night. Because that was how we were able to get this democracy that we have. So I am not, it's been nominated as a choice was a relief to me, because there are 1 or 2 that would have been a major headache for me. But when he was nominated, I was smiling, and in fact, I took a glass of wine to celebrate his nomination, because I knew it was going to be an easy thing for me.
Thank you, Comrade Deputy Governor. Thank you very much. We've been so excited having this engaging conversation with you. You say you follow your constituents to the hospital.
Thank you.
Well, please keep safe. This is not the right time to follow your constituents to the hospital. But we wish you all the best, and we look forward to September 19. And we hope all of you, the political leaders in Edo State, would eschew violence and promote peace. Thank you.
Ruben,
yes.
Before you conclude, Ruben, before you conclude,
yes.
I wore BPE. Okay. And I had a meeting with this constituent in the isolation center. And 2 weeks after I did test, I was still negative.
Okay. Lucky you.
All the best. Thank you, Comrade Deputy Governor.